adult Sunday school leaders. I've had a pretty busy week preparing for both Sunday morning and Sunday evening services for this coming Sunday, so I don't have a video for you this week, just a few quick audio thoughts for you. Well, we are starting a new unit called Beauty from Ashes, Redeeming Your Broken Relationships. Our first lesson is from Genesis 15, 16, and 17, entitled Redeemed from Poor Choices. And the point is that God's plans are always better than our own. The title of the lesson should give us some hope. I know we've all made some pretty bad choices, whether that is a certain automobile purchase, an investment, a hastily sent email or text message when you're angry, or perhaps some dating choices or even marriage choices that you've made. But we can also make some poor choices when it comes to obeying God's will. And when we do err, it usually can take one of two extremes. We can inform God and say, well, God, I'm going to do such and such, now bless what I'm doing. We can do that extreme, or we can do the other, which is I'm not going to take a single step of faith until I see exactly what it is I'm supposed to do. And I think we've all struggled with both of those extremes. I know I have. But today's lesson deals with Abraham and Sarah. And in the first part of the lesson, it'll be Abram and Sarai. So you might spend some time explaining that name change, which actually isn't covered in the passage. In fact, there's some other meaty bits of information that are in chapters 15, 16, and 17 that aren't included in our text. And so you might want to use that as some filler or some background as you go through it. The chapter 15 passage basically says that God promised Abraham's descendants would be as numerous as the stars. And then we get down to chapter 16, and about 10 years have passed, and Sarah says, hey, take Hagar here, she's my servant, take her as a wife, and I can have a family through her. So he did. Hagar becomes pregnant, and after she learns that she's pregnant, Hagar begins to feel superior to Sarah and didn't mind showing it. And the Bible actually says that Hagar began to despise Sarah. Sarah then complains to Abraham, hey guy, you need to take care of this matter. You see, sister wives didn't work 5,000 years ago, and they don't work today. And so we get down to chapter 17 passage, and God keeps his promise. Your wife Sarah will bear you a son. You will call him Isaac. I recently concluded a Wednesday night study that examined the family of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Esau. And the title of the Wednesday night study was Dysfunctional Families. And it was interesting to see how the mistakes and sins of one generation are often perpetuated into the next. And the whole point of that study and this lesson, I believe as well, is that even if you're in a dysfunctional family, even if you're the one who's messed up, God is there waiting to forgive, to put you back on the right track. There may be some discipline involved, but God is there ready to forgive. Let's take, for instance, a healthy family unit. Usually, 99+% of the time, the parent knows what's best. Because if nothing else, their life experience gives them a bigger picture of things, and they know things that the kid doesn't know. And so when they say something, and this is a very simple illustration here, but if they say something like, don't eat all the Halloween candy tonight, and the child sneaks it into their bedroom and they do that, well, the punishment of the bellyache is what they've actually brought on themselves. Of course, the parent might also bring in some discipline and ground the child, but a good parent will use that as a teaching time, and of course will continue to love and guide their child. I know that's an oversimplified illustration, but in our heavenly family unit, God always knows best. And when we disobey, sometimes the punishment, it's our own doing. And sometimes God will issue additional discipline, but the goal is not pain, it's restoration. It's to get us back on track. So here's a point you might want to discuss in your class if you have time, and that is that not every open door is an invitation from God. The opportunity for Sarah and Abraham to take matters into their own hands and bring in Hagar was not an invitation from God to do that. And so just remember that an open door was not necessarily opened by God. That's all I have for this week. Hopefully I'll show my beautiful face in the Prep Talk video next time. Have a good Sunday.